It is 6 a.m. You are already checking your inbox. Your body feels heavy, and even though on paper and on LinkedIn you are winning, internally you are feeling depleted and hollow. So in today's episode, we are going to unpack why success still feels hollow when your energy is depleted. And I want to begin to share with you a formula, 3 steps that you can begin to do today when you want to shift your energy and begin to lead from vitality, from energy, from joy, from flow, instead of burnout. This is for the high achiever, the one who's burned out but still performing, wondering, how did I get here? Joyfully Empowered is about feeling inspired, uplifted, and connected to your intuition. This is the place where dreams are possible, cups are half full, and community is solid. Topics include leadership, feminine wealth, intuition, manifestation, and our sacred work. This is where bold self-starters come to refill their je ne sais quoi to continue spreading a little magic to the world. I am Stephanie Verchot, a spicy Latina, mom, and relentless about supporting people achieving their dreams, following their intuition while igniting who they are and their spark. Welcome to Joyfully Empowered, my friends. So today I forgot my adapter. So we are recording in good old headphones. The mic, if you see the video of this on YouTube or Substack, you can literally see I have my headphones, my wired headphones, and I have my mic here. But I can't plug it into my laptop because there's no adapter. So this is just a reminder for all of you out there that you can still show up and share incredible content even when things are not quote unquote perfect or we don't have the right setup. Because I've been so excited to record this podcast and I'm setting all the things up and I'm like, where is the adapter? I left it in my other bag. I have this little bag where I put my charger and everything, and I'm gonna start putting it in there because I have another little bag. I love little bags where it's all my podcast things, but I didn't record the podcast. Usually I do it on Saturdays. I didn't come to the office Saturday. I'm here on Monday and it stayed in the other bag. But here I am, and hopefully this is inspiring you to do the same thing. Just show up and do the damn thing. So listen, the episode today is an inspiration on both an experience that I had very real in my own career, as well as something that I've been hearing so much from my clients around I've achieved success. I am doing what I thought I wanted to do and I feel depleted, right? You go to my LinkedIn and I have all the promotions, my career is immaculate. I have all the accolades and certifications and degrees, and internally, I am burned out. How did I get here? And this is something that's so real. And I don't know if anybody's left unscathed. I don't know if it's sad or whatever, however you want to describe it, but I think it's a little bit of a rite of passage, right? That we all find ourselves in moments in our careers where we're like, how did I get here? And why doesn't this feel as good as I thought it would, right? Like I achieved my success, I did what I wanted to do, and I am hollowed, I am empty, I am depleted, I am burnt out. This was for me almost 10 years ago. I had been working almost for a decade and climbing the corporate ladder and doing all of that, I had my master's in business from the University of Miami. I got my bachelor's in science from University of Tampa. I got certifications in speaking, certifications and all kinds of things along the way. And I remember this a very dramatic story, but it was winter 2015, and it was probably like a January, February, snowy, dark, cold, and I'm like, I'm not going to work today. Like, I can't. I'm so sad. I'm so depleted. I'm so lost in my own career. So I called up sick. Back in the day, you did not have mental health days. You would just call sick and that was it. Now it could probably be like, I need a mental health day. But I was crying and I like laid on the floor, bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, listen, whoever's listening, God, angels, spirits, guides, nature, energy, sun, moon, any, I need help. Homegirl needs some help. And it came in the form of coaching, right? Like back then, coaching was like very taboo. And I had gotten to therapy and it was great, but this didn't feel like a therapy moment. This felt like there was something different. So I ended up hiring my first coach. And in that process of working with her, I realized that everything that brought me joy, everything that made me who I was gone. That stuff was hiding. And little by little, I started reclaiming my joy. I started doing the things that I loved. And that's why I had hit that moment of burnout, of hollowness, because I wasn't who makes me me, you know? I was not that person at all. And I was just all work, no play, you know, and it was a lot. So in the process of coaching, being coached by this woman, I ended up really falling in love with coaching. And I never thought I was going to be a coach, but I was like, I want to get certified because if I ever go through this again, I want to know the tools to support me in moving through this pain. And I ended up enrolling in coaching school. Shout out to IPEC. And as soon as I started going to coaching school, I remember the first weekend, back then you met in person. And the first weekend you could bring a guest. Great little business, incentive. You bring a guest, maybe if they like it, they also enroll. I begged and pleaded, and for some miracle of God, my husband Dwayne came. If you all know Dwayne, this is not his jam. He's not like personal growth, self-development, coaching, no. But he came. And it was awesome. And we were walking home and I was like looking, it was like a Friday through Sunday. So Sunday we're walking home. It is the most beautiful night in New York City. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I figure out my purpose. I'm here to be a coach. So I got certified. The certification took about a year. And after the certification, I quit my job without a single paying client. And here we are, almost 10 years later. But I went through the same experience and it was hard, right? It's really hard when you feel burned out and depleted and hollowed. And again, everybody's like, wow, you're so great. You're working at this company or you have this position. Like everything should be wonderful. There's nothing to complain. And internally you're like, what am I going to do? Like, I was drinking a lot at the time. I was numbing a lot at the time because the pain was so heavy. So I've been there and I know what it feels like. And I also know that there's a way out, right? So I want you to start thinking about how can you reframe this, right? Like this is an opportunity for growth. I remember my mom telling me during that time, because then I told her I was going to coaching school and everything else. And she's like, Steph, this moment is going to help you in the future for your clients, right? And that was a great reframe. So for you, like, what is a way for you to look at the situation that feels empowering and it doesn't feel like you are not completely being swallowed by life, like this is not forever. This could be a future experience for your own clients. This can be something that you are going to get through it. This is going to teach you a valuable lesson about yourself. So when I started really getting into the work of coaching and personal growth and self-development, I also got a certification through Daniel Goleman. And he's one of what people call like the founding father of like EQ, emotional intelligence. And that really helped me create this cycle that I call recharge, leverage, and align. Right? So when you are going through these really hard phases in life, right? How can you recharge? What do you leverage? And how do you align? So let's walk through that framework today to support you in this moment if you're feeling a little bit lost, a little depleted, burnt out, so you can support yourself through this process and get to the other side, being a bigger person, having grown and taken those experiences that will serve you for a lifetime. So the first one is the recharge, right? That seems a little bit more obvious, but where do you find time in your days and in your weeks for an energy reset, for a nervous system regulation, for energy work, for tapping, for a massage, right? What are the times during your days or your weeks where you're like, Friday nights, I get home a little bit earlier, I get takeout, and I take a nice long bath and I recharge, right? For me, those days, I don't need it. The recharge for me has a different meaning nowadays because I really love what I do and my life is set up. I have my own set of challenges in this current chapter of my life, but it's not work. So for me, I still take the reset days and my recharges, and those are actually Saturdays. If you've been listening for a long time or if you follow me on social media, you know I come to the office on Saturdays. And half my day on Saturdays is work where I'm doing admin or I'm recording a podcast. But the other part of the Saturday is time for me, right? I get my nails done. I may take myself out for like sushi. I maybe go shopping down the street from where I work. So those are the times that I'm like, okay, Saturday, I'm going to be by myself for like 6-7 hours. That is a beautiful recharge. Like, as much as I'm an extrovert and I love being around people, I need my time alone. As much as I love my little girl and my husband, like, I need time by myself, and that is my Saturday recharge. The second part of this is leverage, right? What are the things that you can leverage in your life to give you more energy? So maybe for me that consists, and maybe for you can think about like batching tasks. Is there something that you know you have to do every single week, right? How do you leverage that? Can you delegate, right? I was talking to a client the other day and she recently hired, she had a new hire. And at the beginning, she's like, oh, I'm having a hard time giving them work because they're still trying to figure things out and I have to, train them. And then literally a second later, she goes, but you know what? That's part of the training. I'm going to give them the work. If they don't know what to do it, they'll tell me. And if they do, they'll figure it out. I don't have to do it. And I am able to delegate. So if you do have somebody in your team, or even if it's not work related, your spouse or your friends, what can you delegate, right? Like, what are the things that you can delegate? On my way to work this morning, I was opening ChatGPT, and for me, ChatGPT has been really helpful when it comes to optimizing and making my days more efficient. So I took a screenshot of my day because I literally put everything on the schedule. Even days like today, I had one call. The rest of the day is just busy work. I took a screenshot of my calendar because I had already plugged it in. And I said, okay, take a look at everything that I'm doing and help me organize it in a way that's most efficient for ways of working, right? So I delegated a task. I thought this was the best way for my time. So it gave me back. This is what I recommend based on like how much you have to exert your brain power. And it was great, but that was a delegation. So when I got to the office, I already knew exactly what my day was going to look like instead of me having 10 tasks and being scattered about it for the next 7 hours, right? So for you, that is delegation, right? So how do you delegate? What systems do you put into place? A system that I have is Sundays. Not every Sunday, every other Sunday, I wake up early with my daughter. She already wakes up early, so we wake up early. We do laundry, we get a little breakfast, and then we go to church, right? That is our little every other Sunday routine. It helps me have fun while I'm doing laundry. It is done for the week, right? So that's one. Another system that I have is recording. This was an exception, but I usually always record podcasts on Saturdays, right? And they're ready for Tuesday because there's a new episode dropping every Tuesday. So that is a system that I have in place that helps me leverage my energy. The last part of it is alignment, right? There is clarity. It's saying no. It's staying congruent with who you are, right? So having clarity around what goals am I working towards? What is my 3 needle mover tasks for today, right? Where can I say no this week? Like, I always take a look at my calendar on Mondays or Sundays, and I'm taking a look at what's happening. If I have lunch or dinners scheduled with friends or clients, I will text them to confirm, are we doing this? Is this not working? So I'm able to, or I cannot do this. I double book myself by accident. Let's reschedule. But I take a look at my week ahead and I'm able to align and have clarity, right? I recently started shifting the way that I'm doing business. Like, my business is 80% referral, right? Which is great. I love the work that I do, and I love that my clients refer me to people in their lives. But there's 20% of it that I'm like, okay, there's opportunity for me to do. What am I going to do? I'm going to start doing outreach. I call past clients, or in the podcast, I'm saying, hey, I have openings for one-on-one. Like, I am asking people. But that needs to be part of my system and what I'm adding, and I need to align to that in my weeks, right? So every day I have an hour or 2 hours where I'm like, this is for outreach. So I am aligning my energy with the goals, right? So those are the three parts of this: is recharge, making time for yourself, leverage, how are you batching tasks, delegating or creating systems, and alignment, right? What is the alignment that you have with the goals that you're trying to create? So if you're thinking, here are some common objections of, I don't have time, or if I pause, everything is going to fall behind. Well, here is what I want to say about that. At this point, if you're feeling burnt out and depleted and hollow, you cannot afford to ignore your energy, right? If you can continue doing more for emptiness, that's going to continue leak your energy and your vitality and your joy for life. This is a wake up, right? Take a look at the calendar, take control of your life, and stop doing things on empty, because eventually your body's gonna completely stop you, whether it's from like a sickness, an illness, an accident, getting fired. Like, trust me, I have seen it all. Right? You think you can outrun your burnout, and you can outrun your emptiness, and you can outrun your hollowness. No, you might be able to do it for 6 months, for a year, for 5 years. Eventually that catches up through your health, through an accident, through an illness, because eventually your body's like, okay, well, they're going to listen. And this is how we're going to get there. So this is a serious wake-up call, right? On how do I recharge, leverage, and align. For me, that wake-up call was in the form of that really dramatic night in the winter for me, where I was like drinking too much, not sleeping enough, working out way too much. My adrenals were so depleted, right? And that's when I told myself, okay, well, something's got to change. And that change came through the form of coach, then through the form of certification, then through the form of taking the biggest leap of faith in my life and quitting my multi-six-figure, very coveted career, to starting a business and barely making anything the first year, to truly rebuilding my life one step at a time. So that was my wake-up moment call. Ideally, you don't have to get to a wake-up call. But if you do, then wake up, do the work, and take responsibility and accountability for your life, right? So I want you to take, as a coach, I love accountability, and I say this in probably most of my episodes, schedule a 10-minute recovery reset, right? It's 10 minutes. What am I going to start doing differently? Where am I going to recharge? Where am I going to delegate? And where am I going to align, right? If that pause in itself almost feels impossible, then it's time for deeper support, right? And that's when I want to introduce and invite you to join me in my one-on-one coaching experience, the Lotus Journey. I have the symbol of the lotus tattoo here on my wrist, and it's in Sanskrit, right? And the lotus for me is that flower that they live in the water, but they like survive. They grow through the water. They grow through the mud. They grow through the pain. This was my very first tattoo ever, because I know what that experience has been for me. Like, I can grow through the water and through the pain. And so I called it the Lotus Journey. And this is where I help high achievers rebuild their energy, their clarity, and their sense of direction, right? So they can lead and grow without burning out. So they can lead and grow from purpose. So if this is you, if you're listening to this and you're like, yes, Steph, this is me. If you're craving more ease and more grace, more purpose, more vitality, and expansion in your next chapter, I would love to support you there. So you can go to stephanieverschel.com/private coaching. I will put the link in the show notes, because if you want to explore more, we will have an intro call, right? Just to make sure that I can support you. And then if it's a yes, I will show you different options that I have, and we can move forward from there. If it's a no, then we can, shake hands, high five. I will wish you the best. And it's also all good. But it's important to get started. It's important to ask for support. A coach, even though I've had clients that I've worked with for over 5-6 years, we've worked through so many different challenges in those 6 years, right? But we usually work for something for like 6 months, maybe a year. And then it's okay, let's move forward. Let's continue. What's next, right? Because at this point, you deserve to thrive in your life, not just perform. Performing is so exhausting, right? So being able to thrive and to know that you're not alone in this. There's so many things, especially as women, and even with my male clients, that's like, we're going to keep it to ourselves. We're going to keep it to ourselves. We don't want to bother anybody. This is something we can figure out on our own. And like, yes, maybe you can figure out on your own, but having support from like a certified coach, from somebody that's intuitive, that has emotional intelligence, that has been through it, makes the journey so much shorter. And also when you're not feeling alone in the process, everything just feels like, all right, I can do this, right? Let's not ignore this moment in our lives. Let's use it as a catalyst for what you are building in the future. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Save it if you want to listen to it again. It's been an honor to provide you with this content that will support you navigating this current challenge or chapter in your life. May you follow your joy always and in all ways. Take care, my friends.